What's up, Internet? Matt Guff from House.com.
Scottie Stank.
Matt Siddons.
Yo, first, as we kind of start this little video, I want to give a huge shout out to these two guys. These are the guys that do all the stuff behind the cameras, do the editing, the sound, the lighting, make the studio what it is, and make me look good on the channel. So, thank you guys. You guys absolutely rip.
Thank you.
Word up. So these guys were actually lucky this week. They went up to Lutsen. It was like, what, May 2nd and 3rd?
Yeah, 3rd through 5th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wasn't able to go and ride, but they grabbed some of the 2020 Rossignol goods. And we wanted to sit down and kind of chat about it. And yeah, just kind of discuss what the 2020 line looks like. And as we kind of start, I have to say, the 6 boards that you brought up there were really well diversified.
Yeah.
We had the Jigsaw HD, Sashimi, Sushi, 1LF, and the Templar, kind of representing the freestyle, the all mountain, and then like the POW fun shape categories. And anyone out there who is looking to like make a quiver out of their boards, that's kind of like what you want to shoot for. One freestyle, like twin, one directional kind of all mountain board, and then kind of one like POW specific style shape. Guys, how was it overall riding the new 2020 stuff?
It was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was really cool to, first of all, be out so late in the season. It felt like the season was over and this was almost like a new season. It was just a month, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, you said it well. The boards that we brought out were pretty diversified, so I mean, we got a feel for a lot of different styles of boards in the last, the last few runs of the 2018, 2019 season, and yeah, that was just awesome too.
Yeah, I don't even remember the last day I had on snow. I think I got 61 days. I think I got 61 days or 60 or 61 days.
Might have been Buck.
It might have been Buck.
Yeah, because I think that was my last, what I thought to be my last,
April
session.
Right.
So that was like.
Right. Was that the day we did March, 6 resorts?
No, we were
hand plant.
slush piping.
The hand plant day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hand plant day. Yeah, that seems like forever ago.
I know.
Yeah.
So being able to go kind of like a month without riding or so.
Yeah.
Good couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then you get on snow. Yeah, I like how you said that. That kind of felt like a new season.
Yeah, it was wild, man. And, Lutsen's a special place. I love it.
Yeah.
It was great. Even Eagle Mountain was the only mountain that was open, There was
Which one is that again? There's like
That's
3 mountains, right?
Right. So that's right when you pull in. It's right next to the chalet.
Got it.
And the parking lot and ticket office and stuff. And
Right there, yep. Okay.
Yeah.
That's my favorite spot,
It's
actually.
cool, man.
It's steep stuff, right?
There's a lot of black diamonds.
Yeah.
It's like mostly blacks.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couple double blacks. Yeah. Which are steep, man. And then I guess we can talk about the snow. So they got dumped on like probably 10 to 12 inches a couple days before we got out there.
Are you serious? It did?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so, for Minnesota, I think it's the last place you could go to snowboard,
Right.
And so the snow was, they had a lot of snow stacked up, and it was obviously like melting because it was like 50 or 60 degrees when we were out there. But
Right.
the morning was ideal because it was still colder, and so it wasn't as slushy.
Got it.
I know some people like the slush, but there was something about it being a little firmer. It's kind of hard to keep your board up when it's so slushy, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, the snow moves under the deck, kind of weird.
Yeah.
So in the mornings, was it like bulletproof, like hard, or?
It was pretty hard. I mean, they groomed it, which was cool. And in the mornings, you were really able to like lay into a carve.
Got it.
and your board would really go into this into the slush. So
Right.
Depending on which board you're riding, it could be really surfy, and you could really lock into turns.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it was good for riding in May, you know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right. That is cool. That that's special when like a resort stays open a little bit longer than everyone else, and sometimes they like conserve snow. Like Tyrol Basin, they were also open this weekend. It's down by Madison, Wisconsin, a place called Mount Horeb, and they used to put snow. They gather all their snow up at the end of the season, and they put like a baseball tarp, like a huge baseball tarp, over this just field of snow, and then like line it with hay bales and stuff.
Yeah.
So it, like come June, they'd always do like this half pipe jam. So they actually take their cutter, they cut a pipe. Sometimes it was hand dug, but gradually it started to kind of like phase out, and then they just did rail jams, and that's kind of what it is now. But it's so cool to see everyone just kind of like gravitate towards that stuff. You know, it's kind of like a magnet, like. You know?
Yeah.
Like everyone gets like, oh, I still want to ride a little bit. And then for you guys to get on next year's stuff and ride in those really fun spring conditions it's really awesome.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that I mean, we were so grateful just to be out there in May. The one thing, there was like, you know, some muddy conditions coming up, like a little visible out of the snow.
Okay.
So, and sometimes it wasn't too visible, but you really had to know your lines, because you could hit a patch that would just seemingly stop you in your tracks.
Yeah.
And if you were really like hauling down,
Oof.
you could
Dude.
you could kind of feel the board want to just launch you forward.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Take you out of your bindings. There was this one spot that they had caution flagged, and it was this little like pit. It was just probably like a 5-foot dip. And the first day we were there, we were just like, you could just ride it, you know?
Right.
And
Kind
then-
of ollie out of it and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, exactly. And then so the second day, we were riding up to the thing, and it had turned into a river under the snow.
Yeah.
Like, big
Yeah.
river.
Yeah.
That's what that's what a day can do in spring riding. It's
Right.
like, take
Yeah.
something that was rideable, a couple hours later,
Right.
you're gonna get washed down a river in the same spot, dude. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Word. So out of all the decks within the each category, you know, freestyle, all mountain, and then POW, fun shape, which one did you guys like the most, like in those really warm spring conditions?
Well, I mean, like for me, I really enjoyed the sushi.
Okay.
I thought I mean, obviously it's a pretty specific board,
Right.
a little bit like
Right.
with
Sushi's.
sushi's the
This one.
yeah.
This is a fun. This one has been, dude. Everyone loves this thing.
Yeah.
You know, like they're really.
And-
Here, you guys hold it.
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't know. A lot of people will consider this kind of like. I always just hear people say like, "Oh, it's the toy in your quiver," you know.
Right.
But when we were out there, you know, riding in May in Minnesota, and, it just felt a lot more than that.
Right.
It was in the slush. It was still super surfy,
Cool.
without chattering too much.
Right.
So you weren't really getting bucked around, especially in the morning.
Got it.
And there was
Yeah,
still
I think that we'll probably get to it, and sorry to cut you off,
Yeah.
but I definitely know what you're talking about. So we both rode almost all the boards, right?
Right.
And so I think that these, what is it called, light frame?
Yeah.
I think that probably had a lot to do with it, because I really didn't feel much chatter on this thing. Like,
Cool.
yeah. Which is crazy, because it's a 144, right?
Yeah. Super
Yeah.
short. Well. Yeah.
And especially like when it's that slushy, like it's pretty chopped up out there, man. And so like
Yeah.
it was pretty amazing. You could kind of just let this. You just pull your nose up, and it just did most of the work for you. You know
Cool.
what I mean?
Yeah, it's got a what is it, hybrid profile shape. So like just past the front insert packs, it like has a gradual sweep. But I like the nose shape because it doesn't like buck up really
Yeah.
fast. It's kind of like
Yeah.
it's really gradual. And then what the tail's got camber. So underneath that front foot all the way to the back end, it's got got camber.
Yeah,
cool.
and we were hitting some side hits with it, so there's still like plenty of pop. Although you don't have that big tail to like really pop you up, so a lot of that is coming from your back foot.
Right.
So I guess that just takes some time to get used to. And, you know, you can still soar off the side hits, or if you want to even take it on jumps or something.
Right. And that's a really good point too. Is like, yeah, it has loads of energy, but that pop location is like way closer to your back foot.
Yeah.
And even with the contact point ending there, and then the nose one up just a little bit in front of your front foot, even though the full length of the board's a 144, it definitely feels like a lot shorter board because your contact with the snow is like there to just outside of your front foot, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just
I kind of felt like it was, you kind of have like, it's kind of like a pivot point almost on your back foot.
Right.
You can, like, it's so short. I just don't have a lot of experience riding something like this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it felt like you could just take your foot and just, it was like a pivot, like, I don't know, like you're playing basketball, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's like the draw to a lot of people on a board like this is like, they can pivot on their front foot and their back foot is like a rudder, just like
exactly. Yeah.
Right. Were there any trees open, or did it just mostly all open runs? There was
one run. We took a little gutter run,
Okay.
But it was pretty stumpy. But
sure.
I think I was on this thing. For it.
Got it.
And it was nice because of that pivot point, you know, and like the quick bank turns and stuff like that. Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. Now, both of you guys have, like, Matt, you have a size 11.5 boot. Scott, you have a 12. I was gonna say noon, but that would be weird. You got a noon boot.
Make that a thing.
So the Sushi has a 26.4 waist width. That's definitely wider than your average board. In the spring conditions, sometimes like you can get a slip out and your board digs into the snow deeper, and generally can cause more toe and heel drag. With this waist width, with the heavy, wet, deep style snow, did you guys drag your toes and heels? Do you see yourselves or feel yourselves catching it all?
No, I didn't notice anything really.
Got it.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, I mean we were laying into carbs too, which this thing is awesome doing, and if only we could have done it on like some, you know, middle of winter groomed trails to see.
Right.
But I didn't notice anything.
Cool.
Yeah, for the conditions we had, and typically this would probably be for more of a powder situation, but it worked well just as well, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
Now, with the flex of the other boards that you kind of brought up there, where do you think this one kind of ranks in within the other boards? Was it kind of stiffer than most of the other boards, softer than most of the other boards, or kind of like right in the middle from what you remember?
Man, I'd say right in the middle. What would you say?
I mean it was like pretty middle of the road.
Sure.
In terms of flex, you know, it was playful enough where you can quick edge to edge, flex it out on turns.
Yeah. And it's a fun board, like you guys were saying with the short tail, it's maneuverable, right?
Yeah.
But it still has like a really big side cut radius for the length that it is. I can't remember exactly what the number is, but it's a bigger side cut radius than most boards. So when you are riding like hard groomers, like you can still rip really good, but when you want to turn it fast, you can use that tail like a little rudder too.
Yeah, totally.
That's cool. So this thing, the Sushi, compared to this next one, the Sashimi.
Yeah.
What'd you think in contrast of both of these decks? I can take that one.
Okay. For me,
that's a good looker though.
Yeah,
that's a good looking board.
That top sheet, especially on the snow, like the colorful fish. I thought this thing looked so cool. Yeah,
shines through.
Yeah, it's compared to last year's. There was another dude out there riding last year's Sushi.
Yeah.
And this thing, they really upped their game with it.
Dude.
I think. I think it looks way better.
The graphic kind of reminds me of, so I think it's a thing where people would like they'd have a fish and they'd like paint the fish and then they'd lay the fish down on a piece of paper and kind of like stamp it out. I think that was like a kind of art. This kind of reminds me of that a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. It has like some longitude and latitude markings. Like, I don't know where the heck that's at, but we could find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, the base is pretty tight too.
Hell yeah.
So this thing, compared to the sashimi, which the sashimi was new for 19, I believe, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, you can.
I think
right.
so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
No,
Yeah. What'd you guys think of that? What'd you think of this thing?
This thing was perfect. This was my favorite board.
This one was sashimi.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we could talk about the best park board, but overall, this thing for the sloppy conditions we were in was perfect.
Cool.
It has the same characteristics of the sushi, but then you also get a little bit more board to work with down here.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
you can spring off of that thing a little bit better.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And what size is this one? This is a 56?
Yeah.
56. Still has a pretty big waist,
Did pretty
26.2.
well, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it just felt like kind of like the older brother of the sushi. So
Older brother of the sushi?
Yeah, a little
Yeah,
bit. I mean, definitely in terms of length for sure. But like, it held up a little better. It's kind of like if somebody wanted the sushi but wanted it to go anywhere.
Got it.
To me, at least, that's the sashimi for sure.
Cool.
It was a little less chattery on like when people started pushing the snow and it's like 2 o'clock or something.
All right. Gets a
This
little
thing,
bumpy.
yeah, this thing would kind of like rip through that real bumpy, packed up soft snow or hard
Right.
snow,
Yeah.
hard slush.
You could charge and not have to worry about getting bucked, just like
Yeah.
on the sushi.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the nose shaping past what the contact looks like, it looks to be just a little bit more abrupt in its angle.
Yeah.
It looks like it goes up and kind of bowls out just a little bit more. I suppose when you're riding those like really chundery conditions, where it's
Yeah.
just super bumpy, the afternoon, having a little bit higher of a rise can help kind of like get over the top of some of that stuff.
Yeah.
And I bet even in deeper snow, maybe a little bit, it wouldn't necessarily like push it like kind of push it, but when you're in some variable terrain like hard and soft snow together, that might be able to kind of perform a little bit better. What's a base look like on the 2020? This is actually, I've seen these graphics before.
Yeah.
That looks good. And it kind of reminds me of the graphic from last year's 1LF. Just a little, there's like that stripe down the middle of the board.
for sure.
And this also features light frame technology.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you feel like was there any difference in the way, or what was the biggest difference in the feel of the sashimi in contrast to the sushi?
I think it just like it absorbed a lot of the chundery stuff
Okay.
better. To me, that's what I was feeling. So you weren't getting as bucked around, or even you really weren't getting bucked around on
Got it.
going through, and it would hold a turn really well. So I think this thing obviously would do great in the POW.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, I mean that's what I was feeling.
Yeah. Great board.
This is your favorite.
I mean, we can talk about park boards in a second, but and I love park boards, so it's hard to say it, but yeah, this thing did the best, man.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
for me.
Yeah, I like the sashimi, especially with that little bit longer of a tail too,
Yeah.
And you can actually, I think you coming out of a turn a little bit, it kind of holds that line just a little bit
Yeah, it
better
really does.
instead of like
Yeah,
kind of washing out.
Yeah.
You really have to watch out like where your weight is on your boards when you're exiting a turn on something a little bit more short like this
Yeah.
than something like that, because maximum point of velocity, that last little point where you're like exiting out of that turn, is further away from your body, kind of holding you on, and I think it just springs you out of the turn a little bit faster.
For sure.
And that's why I like the sashimi. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Dang.
Awesome.
Paddleboards, huh?
Wow.
Now, if you guys, so Scott, if you were to pick one of these to ride forever, you say this one over the
I like the way the sushi looks better, but I like the fish, man, but
right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll pick this one, yeah.
Siddons, which one, if you were to pick kind of a board between the two, which one do you like better?
Well, if I had to ride something, just one, on any condition, it would be the sashimi.
Because it's more versatile?
Yeah, but like the sushi was just so fun, and like I could have fun, find a way to have fun in any condition with that thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I feel like you get into powder, and you might like the sushi more than the sashimi. Like, you know, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Dang. They both look really good.
Yeah.
And I like how the graphics are vastly different, even though their names are fairly similar. You know, sushi and sashimi, you know, like, that's pretty tight. All right.
Yeah, Rossi killed it.
Let's move in. Let's go park.
Okay.
Let's go park.
We got the Jigsaw. Grab that one. We got the Jigsaw and the Jigsaw HD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty big ones. I'll grab both of them. Yeah. All right, let's do normal one first.
Okay.
That thing, Jigsaw.
Jigsaw.
Everyone knows that thing. It's been with Rossignol for a long time. Jigsaw, twin park deck, looks good. I like the matte finish with the high gloss on the nose and tail.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't like the Jigsaw's graphics.
Okay.
But this one is probably one of the much better graphics out there.
Yeah. It's a fun board to ride.
Yeah. Scott, you were saying you like park boards a lot. What'd you think?
Well, I'm just looking. I'm in the market for one, I guess.
Okay.
So, getting to ride this was, going off of some of the side hits, little kickers and stuff. It was just the best. Like, I had a lot of fun, man. It was great. For sure. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, so at Lutsen there was 12 runs open. And
12 runs. Right.
No park.
Okay.
So all we had to work with in terms of like getting some park out of this board or out of any of the boards was some side hits.
Yep.
That some of the riders up there were kind of establishing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So we just got to launch this thing and all the other boards off of some kickers that people are making, and what this board just seemed to have a lot of pop that you can just load in, and
Cool.
and it was pretty stable on the landings as well.
Yeah.
And I was kind of surprised at the stiffness. Just hearing Jigsaw, you're thinking, okay, that this thing is going to be like a
Right.
Flexi.
just like a buttery,
Yeah.
jibby board, park board,
Right.
that you're just gonna kind of want to hit on rails. But it was just like fantastic on those side hits that we were doing, and didn't get to try anything in terms of jibbing, but it was like maybe like a 5 out of 10 what I was feeling.
Yeah.
Maybe close to a 6, but pretty middle of the road in terms of stiffness.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah. What's the base look like on that one? That looks good. Yeah, it's kind of wild that a common misconception about the Jigsaw is exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That it's gonna be a really soft board, like
Right.
a Urber Draft or something. You know, and that's not the case, which is wild. So it's interesting. It's interesting that Rossignol has kind of stuck with that name in the category. Sure, it's a freestyle board, but it's definitely not a soft board.
Right.
It's not a soft board.
No.
It's got camber from
camber,
outside the insert packs, in between the feet, and then a little bit of rocker on the nose and tail to help lock you into presses if you want to. But it's not a soft board.
No, and man, it was my favorite. There was I was saying to him when we were on the hill, like, there's something to be said, like, about when you're riding a board and you kind of forget about it. Like,
Right.
there's nothing that's like annoying you about it, and it's just like allowing you to ride, and you just forget that it's almost there. You know what I mean?
You're just
and it
doing
was
your
like,
thing.
yeah, it's like, dude, this thing was like performing the way I wanted it to, and yeah, stomping landings,
Yeah.
you know, boosting off jumps. It was great.
That's a really good way to put it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes there's boards that just feel right. Like you don't have to be so aware of different aspects, like where your weight is, how much speed you have, how much pressure you're putting here and there, how much tilt. You know, like there's so many variables when you ride. You know, like your own body, the board, how it flexes, and the conditions that you're riding. There's a lot of variables that are constantly changing, and for a board to have that ability where you're just kind of enjoying the ride and not thinking about it so much, that's a big weight off your shoulders, you know?
Yeah.
Because sometimes the more you think about stuff, you can be distracted focusing on one thing, you forget something else, you know?
Sure.
That's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Right. Now, in the slushy conditions, did you guys notice how the magnet traction felt on the jigsaw compared to the sashimi and the sushi? Or not really?
I think it was subtle. I didn't really recognize it all that much.
Right.
I don't know about you.
I mean, to me, it really seemed to like lock in on turns, but I was more like comparing it to like just trying to feel the differences between this board and the Jigsaw HD.
Got it.
And this one to me was a bit more playful, a bit more edge to edge, but still holding, like you could still take it on the groomers and really hold in on turns, lock in on turns, but I think it won't pop you out of a turn, you know, as much as the Jigsaw HD. But yeah, just like overall, it was a board that that'll do great on jumps. Didn't get to try it out on any rails or anything, but then something that'll do just like all around park board, and then will do very well on like groomers or maybe even in the powder.
Right. This thing, definitely the big brother, the HD heavy duty version of the Jigsaw. Killer graphic.
Killer.
Basically the same shape from what I understand, except for it has carbon on the inside, or carbon laminates basically on the top sheet. What do you guys think in contrast to the regular Jigsaw?
Got it. Yeah. HD, heavy duty. It's a good way to describe it. A little bit stiffer and definitely more responsive in your turns and in your ollies. You gotta put a little more into it, but when you do, it'll give it back too. So yeah, definitely for the rider who's looking to do a little bit more, and maybe hit some bigger jumps than and stuff like that than your normal Jigsaw.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like it's the Jigsaw, but it's kind of more of a hard charging Jigsaw. Right. So it'll like, you can feel a little bit more confident going off those bigger jumps, having more stability on the landings. It's got a bit more stiffness, so it's for that park rider who wants a bit more stiffness in their board, and then obviously can take to the bigger sides of the mountain too. I
like the HD version of the Jigsaw because for anyone who's kind of aging a little bit too, like I grew up riding twin park boards in the 90s, like my heart will always be in freestyle, even though like I do more free riding now. But that's a really good board for someone kind of like me, or maybe even a dude a little bit older who still likes popping around, going switch every once in a while, still dabbles in the park, but likes to go just a little bit faster. Yeah. And even like you guys were saying, it's like a good jump board, lots of stability in the landing. For any of those park kids that take it a little bit further, a little bit more aggressive, Jigsaws. The HD is definitely that one. I know Nick Belbis, like he's an absolute ripper. Rides out of Park City now, from Minnesota originally. He absolutely slays on the HD.
Oh yeah.
Huge jumps, murders on rails too. Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah. What is with the Jigsaw HD? What was your favorite character trait about the deck?
Well, I kind of like I like a good strong board that you kind of have to work for, like use your legs a little bit more.
Right.
So I think, I liked the responsiveness of it, I don't know, it might wear you out a little quicker, you know what I mean?
Right.
But
right.
But it's fun to kind of feel that spring, a little bit stiffer of a board.
Right.
Yeah.
Same thing?
Yeah, I mean, I rode this right after I was on the Jigsaw, and for where we were at, the Jigsaw was more my thing.
Okay.
Just because it was just a bit more playful, which I liked, while still being, medium stiffness.
Right.
And yeah, just great for Minnesota riding.
Yeah, sometimes too in soft conditions, because the snow moves under you almost so much more. Like a stiffer board kind of doesn't mimic that kind of like you want to flex the board out, but the snow will move a little bit more.
Yeah.
So it almost feels like it's like a knife through mashed potatoes, just like the snow doesn't push back on the board as much as it could if it was a little bit more firm.
Yeah.
I kind of experienced that, I think, at the Bank Solemn. I rode one of my favorite boards, the Jones flagship, carbon flagship, but it was way too stiff of a board.
Really?
For the conditions in the terrain choice. So I can imagine how you'd feel that way.
Yeah, and I mean and that was at a point where there's plenty of snow being pushed. So I was really looking at my line and trying to maneuver around some of that kind of stuff.
Right.
And that was really easy on the Jigsaw.
Right.
The HD, it just took a little bit more to get edge to edge and yeah.
Now moving into the next category, kind of the all mountain.
Yeah.
Templar is a board that kind of gets overlooked sometimes.
Okay.
But I don't think it should. Like I actually really like the Templar. It's a little bit more like price point oriented for people who like a board like the 1LF or maybe even the XV. Templar, what'd you think?
So I rode the Templar, and I think this was the last board that I rode.
Okay.
Which I think was a good thing, because it is kind of that intermediate, start to progress a little bit more kind of board. At least to me, that's what it felt like. There's all the features that you would want to start to learn different things around the mountain. Yeah, okay.
Like setback stance,
full directional.
Longer nose, yeah.
And it's got plenty of pop. Yeah, plenty of pop to learn how to, load and jump off those side hits or jumps. Still flexible enough to learn how to do some butters.
Okay, yeah.
And I would say even more than just learn, just, really get into buttering. But not too flexy where you're not going to want to bring it into, I don't know, just like hard charging groomer kind of runs.
Right. Yeah, it has a small little camber zone basically underneath in between the feet, like the rocker on the board is much longer on the nose and the tail than what you find in the Jigsaw HD. And I think even in the 1LF, or it might be actually the same, but it's a little bit shorter between the feet. So like you were saying, a little bit more maneuverable.
Yeah.
Do you feel that? Did you ever feel like it was sloppy?
Maybe just a little bit.
Okay.
It wasn't. I don't know. I mean, it was just like really just felt like a nice all mountain ride. You know,
Okay.
nothing too particularly special about it
Right.
in a way. But it was just something that like you'll be able to do anything you want it to do, really. You know?
Right.
And it's
Kind of like what Scott was saying about the jigsaw, how he didn't have to think about it too much. I think that's
pretty
a character
true.
of,
Yeah.
of the Templar, is that you don't really have to do too much to make it act a certain way. You can kind of just ride it, and it's pretty dang catch free with that big rocker nose and
Yeah.
tail. So even though you guys were riding spring conditions, like in deeper snow, it's a fun board because it's kind of loose, kind of surfy, but it still has that good edge bite too with that Manda traction.
Yep.
Right. And the base graphic, that's a pretty, I like what that looks like. That's kind of fun little colorway, like this orangish red and then kind of like a light peach, and that looks cool. It
nice.
pops really good too.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Man.
Oh,
Okay. And then this thing, kind of the king of the hill.
Yeah.
You know, I like the 1LF a lot. I like this one a lot. It has light frame tech. I think this is a direction. I can't remember. I should
Directional
remember.
twin.
Yeah, directional twin. So it's twin shape, but the stance is set back just a touch, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So great looking graphic. They did a good one again.
Yeah, I really like the base.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got that light frame tech, like you say. Yeah. Yeah, so I rode this one. Last board of the day that we were on. And yeah, a lot similar to the Templar, where I felt like when I was on the jigsaw, I could kind of the jigsaw might have even felt stiffer than this thing. Like I could definitely tell that this is built for an all mountain type of situation.
Right.
Someone who wanted to have a board that's really versatile. You know what I mean? Yeah. So this was the 159. I usually ride a wide, so it was a little like slimmer than I'm used to, like I was saying. But
Yep.
but that being said, I had no issues really. Like me and this board hung out, and we did some cool stuff together. So
Yeah.
yeah,
What size do you normally ride in length?
like a
59.
59.
You're 59. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I'm like park boards. Yeah, my pretty much go-to set is a 59, but I'm the same way too. Like I prefer a wide over just a standard width.
Yeah.
But that looks pretty. That looks pretty wide for being a regular width board.
Yeah, it's nice, man.
Right.
Yeah, and you get the dampening with the light frame tech too. So
Right.
yeah, you're gonna get rid of some of that chop. Same within the sushi and sushimi. So.
Right. Do you feel like the 1LF was just a little bit more sturdy, or do you think it would be a little bit more sturdy than the Templar?
I feel like it was built to be that way, right? Probably.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I didn't ride the Templar, so.
Got it.
Yeah.
Right.
But this is their higher price point board, right?
Right.
So,
I think that adds in with that light frame tech too.
Yeah.
You know, adding that extra little laminate. But I think if I were to pick one board, if I could only pick one board out of the whole lineup that you picked to do kind of everything,
Yeah.
it'd be that one. It just like
that's-
the profile shape. It's got a little bit of camber between the feet, a little bit of rocker, but it's still sturdy, and it has that light frame tech.
yeah.
That's pretty dang good.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Right. What was your favorite thing about it?
Probably the light frame tech. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the freaking dampening, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild, like when Rossi first kind of came out with that light frame, right?
So
I think
cool.
that this was still called like the One Mag at the time,
Okay.
and it must have been like 3 or
Yeah.
4 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
And going from one board, one series of boards to the next series of boards that featured the light frame tech, there's just a night and day difference.
Yeah.
Night and day difference in how it felt.
I'll say that one more thing is I think that Rossignol makes good snowboards, and I don't know if that comes from like their tradition of making really good skis, and then
Might
they
be.
transition into to putting that same like love and care into their boards. But,
Right.
yeah, I just coming out and then getting to experience a little bit of every type of board that they made for 2020. It made me respect their brand a whole lot more, and
Yeah.
I really mess with those guys now.
Right. Yeah, Rossignol, man. Rossignol is a lot bigger in Europe than they are in the States.
Okay.
You know, they don't endorse too many athletes on like a national or international level. Like,
Sure.
Xavier Delarue, of course, is like their
Yeah.
number one guy.
Yeah,
for sure.
Everyone
Right.
knows who he is. He is just such a good big mountain snowboarder and a good free, you know, just kind of like an all conditioned style rider.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But Rossignol should get more credit than they get,
Yeah.
because you're right, they make some damn good boards, really good boards.
Yeah.
They hold up, they ride within their category, like I think pretty much in the top of their field.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of people just don't they're not drawn to them, and they should be, because the price points are really good, very competitive. The graphics are awesome, and most importantly, they ride really well.
They do.
Really well. You know.
Yep.
Well, how many Rossignol's do I have? I think I have 4 Rossignol's. You know.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of XVs. I absolutely love that board, and that 1LF. Man, it's a hot board.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that we were kind of chatting about in the ride up, and I was kind of nervous about, was that, so we had 6 boards that we're coming up with, you know,
Right.
and I'm like, just kind of like, well, what if I can't feel a difference between anything? What if they all just feel the same? You know?
Yeah. Right.
And that was like the thing for me. It was like, we're riding up 6 Rossignol boards, and each of them you could feel a difference, you know?
Right.
So there never felt like there was a board that was overlapping. Everything had, you know, there was a reason for every board. There was a place for every board, you know?
Yeah. You guys definitely have like 6 of the pretty much most well diversified boards. All mountain, POW, fun shape, and
Yeah.
freestyle, right? Now, okay. I think I already kind of asked this question for each category. If you could pick between the sashimi and sushi, which one would it be?
Sashimi.
Sashimi.
I would go with sushi.
You go with the sushi.
Oh yeah.
And then freestyle, Gypsaw or Gypsaw HD. If you had to pick one for each of the categories together as a quiver.
Gypsaw.
You go Gypsaw?
I go Gypsaw.
I think I would too. Yeah.
You go
Yeah.
Gypsaw?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Templar or 1LF.
That's tough. I think I go with the 1LF.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, just gonna be biased. Templar. Just,
That's
you know,
good.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Everything
a
you
fun
need.
little question. Even with 6 boards in 3 categories, man, that's a tough one, man.
Yeah.
I,
What about you?
yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd probably go 1LF. I really like the Gypsaw HD though.
That American traditionalist
Right,
tattoo style
right.
graphic.
I
is
do
so
I do
nice.
2 combos, probably. I'd either go 1LF Gypsaw Sushi, or I'd go Templar HD Sashimi. That's how I'd arrange it.
3-3.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, those three,
Yeah.
right? Because I think they all complement each other really well.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Dang. Any last big parting words?
Thanks to Tim Parker from Rossignol.
Yeah.
Shout out
Tim
Parker, man.
Parker.
Yeah.
What a stud that guy is.
Yeah, man.
That guy's gold.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, Tim Parker is our regional Rossignol sales rep. He works hard. He's the nicest guy ever. I always feel bad whenever he comes in the shop. Like, I always feel like I have to do stuff, but I want to sit and talk to him because like he's a good talker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's genuine. And whenever he talks to you, he's always interested. You know, he's
Yeah.
really engaged in the conversation.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out
Great
Parker.
human. Yeah.
I mean, he also hooked us up with two Rossi bindings, the Cuda and the Cobra.
Nice.
Which, yeah, those were awesome. I think the best feature was like the toolless adjustments for the
strap
the
centering.
straps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone does it as good as Rossignol
Yeah.
when it comes to that toolless centering adjustment.
Yeah.
It's just like push button,
Right.
slide, unpush.
Yeah, especially since
Yeah,
you know,
for
we
some bindings, it's so hard, but it's so easy.
Gotta
'cause of-
crank
and
the
we
lever.
you know
Yeah.
we have slightly different boot sizes,
Right.
and we were switching boards, and it's just so easy to just be like, okay, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to grab out a screwdriver, just adjust it on the fly, and there you go.
Yep, big time. Now, what boots were you guys riding? The tactical?
The Adidas Advanced Tactics, yeah.
Right,
Tacticals, yeah.
And which one?
What do I have?
Solomon.
I have Solomon.
Are those the launch?
Yeah, I have the launch.
Are they the launch?
Yeah. So pretty
It's a good
soft. Yeah. Yeah.
Good boot. Huh.
Yeah. Great for the price
Dang.
point. Yeah.
Well, next year, hopefully, you know what I did this weekend instead of snowboarding with these cool cats? Did yard work. I was moving raspberry patches.
That's tight, though.
The hell?
Nice.
What an excuse that is.
That's sick, though.
Hopefully, I'll be able to bear the fruits of my labor
Yeah.
in the
Yeah,
fall.
bring
You
some
gotta bring-
raspberries into work.
That's right. But hopefully next year, if we do this again,
Yeah.
I'm coming.
Yep.
I'm gonna come, and we'll
Yep.
jump on the 21.
We'll get out in January, hopefully.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Awesome. Well, thank you guys again for being here, for all the hard work you do. You know, these guys. Someone's got to go ride next year's stuff to let you guys know about it. So
Yeah.
luckily it was these guys. Thank you guys so much for engaging with us, watching, commenting, questioning. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Right over here. Check out more vids over there. Thanks for being here. Thank you guys for being awesome.
Peace.
Peace.